just sang that song at the church that I've been going to, and they have such good like sound quality. So I'm gonna see. I don't think they'll care, but if I can pull the audio off of it and then put it on Spotify, because then I have like a worship song out, and it sounded so good. Like they have such good audio. So I will tell them. I won't just do it. I don't really know the laws behind that, or if there's any laws. I mean, it is public property, so. But I will. I'll ask them before, just because I don't really know how that works, but. I'm going to do one more and then I'll share some of I'm going to do a shortened version of my testimony. I have a long version of my testimony tomorrow night in Billings at Generations Church. They're hosting my ministry show. And I enjoy doing stuff like this because it makes me consolidate and then I don't like dump everything out 4 days in a row. Because it can be a little
exhausting.
Yeah. It definitely will give you nightmares a little bit if you do it that much. But this is I like this because I feel like whenever I come into anything like Celebrate Recovery adjacent, I like to talk about really what Jesus has done in my life, and we don't gotta dig in all the nitty gritty of the past. But my ministry show is like half ministry and half advocacy, really. So I do kind of like to dig in a little bit because some people just are unaware of some of the atrocities that exist out in society. But we'll have a little. Don't worry. I'm sure I'll still make you uncomfortable at one point, but I'll just share a nice, not too much tonight. One of my favorite things to do is play assisted livings. I just love going and playing for them. They're so appreciative of it, and I love this song. It always reminds me of I was playing West Park in Billings, and I didn't know that the memory care unit was there. And one of the nurses, when I played this song, one of the nurse aides, she was just like crying her eyes out. And anyway, after I was done playing, I went over and visited with her because I thought that she just like had a personal connection to the song or whatever. And she said, no, it wasn't that. It was the memory care unit. Most of them couldn't even remember their own names that morning. But when I played the Old Rugged Cross, they remembered every word and they were all singing along. And I don't know, man, if that doesn't make you cry, I don't know what will. Like, it's just the best. It really just shows the power of God, but also just the power of music. And that's why, I mean, just like even visiting places where people might not even really be able to understand, they can feel it. And you can just feel the Holy Spirit, and that's what's so amazing about Jesus, is that he can meet everybody. Like, it doesn't matter. So yeah, I always say if you want to feel the Holy Spirit, go play gospel at an assisted living. It's just the best thing ever. So this song always reminds me of that, and yeah, I'm sure you know it. This was a request at Kylie's group home. The lady wanted me to sing it for her, so I've just been singing all day. It's all I do, literally. I just wake up and sing and I go to bed. On a hill far away stood an old rugged cross, the emblem of suffering and shame. And I love that old cross where the deer stand best for a world of lost sinners was slain. So I'll cherish the old rugged cross till my trophies at I can hear it. I don't know if you can hear it. I feel like I sing better when I don't have a mic in front of my mouth because I can like move around. So when you have a mic, you're just like forced to stay in that place. Anyway.
I can hear yourself so good in this room.
The acoustics are nice, huh?
Yeah.
I can hear you guys, and usually I can't hear. I can just hear myself. Well, might as well share some of my life. That's why I'm here. Thank you guys for having me. I'm happy this worked out. This is going to be a kind of a crazy pants weekend. So I'll be back in Hardin for little, I keep calling it little frontier days. It's little bighorn days. What is that?
That's California there, but.
Is it? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I play during their car show on Saturday at 1 o'clock. So if anybody's at Little Bighorn Days, I'll be there playing during their, vintage car show because I sing all that 50s, 60s music. So I'll be a good fit. But yeah, my name is Juliette Angelo. I just turned 27 in March. And I was 27 March 3rd, and I was 5 years sober March 27th. So it's technically well, not really, huh? Because they say you have like a golden birthday, but if March 27th is more important to me than March 3rd at this point in my life. I get way more excited for my sobriety birthday than my actual birthday, which is kind of fun. Also, March is just like, it's my whole birthday month. You know, people always say like you celebrate the whole month. I actually can. Because it's also my sobriety birthday, so I get a pass. But I was 5 years sober in March, and I got saved August of last year. Jesus just radically changed my whole life. I don't even know who I was before I met the Lord, and that's, He renews our minds and purifies our hearts, and He certainly has done that for me, and He's still working on me. I still slipped up last week, but I'm working through it. Like it's, you are reminded sometimes that, you're still a sinner and also like growing and healing and changing. And as I'm sure most of us know in this room, sobriety is, man, I'm still trying to figure out how like my emotions work and when I'm triggered, if it's like reasonable or if it's not reasonable, and then your brain will like convince you that it is reasonable and it's not, and then I just like spiral out of control. But Jesus has brought me a supernatural peace that no bottle ever gave me, and no pot or whatever I use, codeine occasionally, whatever I use is stupid stuff I used to do. But I'm originally from New Jersey. I grew up in New Jersey, New York. I had a really, really dark, awful childhood that I talk about a lot in my ministry shows. I'm a really big advocate for child trafficking. That's what I was born into as a kid. My family is, it's basically they just do like child crimes in New Jersey. They're all mob affiliated, and that was like my childhood for as long as I knew until I was around 13 or 14 was when that kind of petered off. But because of that, of being submerged into just abuse from such a young age, I feel like that's what really led to my addiction as an adult, and I feel like that's pretty common, to try and fill that void and numb that pain and just die without dying. That's pretty much what I was trying to do. Alcoholism was something that I didn't even know was like really a thing. I thought everybody's mom and grandma just got freaking blasted every night. Like I didn't know it wasn't normal to like not get drunk with your mom and stuff. And all this was going on while I was like living a pretty high profile life. I was a Broadway kid. I worked in Broadway theater in Manhattan. I did 3 Broadway shows. I moved to Los Angeles, California when I was 13, and I worked in television and film, and I did a bunch of TV shows, which is just satanic beyond belief. I mean, Los Angeles, that Hollywood industry, the rumors are true. I can't even believe how people knowing what we know, like, will still willingly put their kids in that world. It's just crazy to me. But it's so insidious because so many people move there because they're broken. Like, there was always a joke that it's everybody who thinks they're too good for their hometowns. But it's so true. There's so many people who move out to these places to try and find themselves, and you'll try and find yourself in everything except God, and he's the only one who's ever going to fill that void. But you know, growing up in that world, it's like right was left and up was down, and I mean, it just, everything is so backwards. And yeah, I was just submerged into all of this crazy fame and stuff at such a young age, and I just was exploited from basically the moment I was born. So that was all I knew, and it took a lot of time. My first suicide attempt, I was 11 years old. I would always say my second one was when I was really deep in anorexia. When I was in my teenage years, I just basically tried to starve myself to death. And the abuse that I was going through, I hate saying the word survivor, it just sounds so silly. But I was, you know, born into a lot of incest as a kid, and that didn't peter off until, that abuse didn't stop until I was around 16, 17 years old. So I've had more, it's so crazy when I put it into perspective, like I've had more years being abused than not, because I'm 27, so like once I reach that, like 32 will like, you know, level it out. But it's so crazy when you think about that, because I feel like so many people put so much blame on the victims and stuff, and like this takes a lifetime to heal. Like you don't just wake up one day and say, oh, you know, so-and-so molested me. Well, now I know that and I'm fine. Like, let me move on with my life. Like, no, it takes a lifetime of healing, and you don't just like bippity boppity boop trauma out of your system. And some stuff for me, like, it's almost like I want to still feel it because it makes it real, and then it allows me to go and help the next person and understand what that's like. But when the abuse in my home stopped when I was around 16, 17, I feel like that's when my addictions really ballooned. I was deep into a porn addiction that started like as soon as I got an internet stick that you can freaking plug into a laptop when I was a kid. I must have been around, I remember I'd be 8 years old driving home from, I think it was How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Or it was Billy Elliot. I think it was Billy Elliot was the show I did, so I must have been around 9. And I'm sure it was before this too, but I would just go online and like go on Omegle and like online sex chat with anybody who would, and you would not believe how many predators are online. It's so easy and so accessible, and they're right there. Like you can just go and find them, and that's why oh my gosh, the internet now is so much more advanced, and that's just like so scary to think about with children. But for me, I mean, that addiction just started when I was, the earliest I can remember was like 8, 9 years old. I don't know why I wouldn't start before that, but so when I got older and the abuse stopped, it's almost like I had to fill that void with that like porn addiction in a way. Like I became my own abuser, and it really is. I mean, if any of y'all have struggled with that, it's like Satan plants a seed and you need it, like you need to breathe. You just like, I was constantly looking up like erotica and literotica and games online. It was just I had such a spirit of like perversion inside of me. And before I processed anything that happened to me, it was like I'd seek it out as a way to like self-soothe, as dark as that sounds. But alcohol was introduced to me at a very young age, but I feel like I didn't really take ownership of that until I was around 19. My mom bought me all my booze. I never had a fake. She would just supplement the house with whatever. And that was it. And I would just get wasted. And I feel like it's not that I like accepted I had a problem, but I always said I'd never drive drunk. And then once I crossed that boundary, it was like all bets were off, you know? And I don't know if anybody else in here has dealt with that. It's almost like you set a line, you're like, I don't have a problem unless I do this. And then I did that, and then it was like, whoa, whatever. And yeah, I drank because I had about 17 years of unprocessed sexual trauma that I was just unwilling to look at or accept. I drank because my social anxiety was like unbelievable. I could barely even leave my house without having a panic attack, having to talk to people. I drank because I didn't have an identity. I drank because I wanted to kill myself, and that was just how I numbed my whole life. And it was also all I knew. I didn't know how to emotionally regulate. I didn't have any emotions as a kid. I'd either get hit or I'd cry until I puked, and that was it. It was like one or the other, and then I just disassociate for another 9 months until I like had another explosion. And it wasn't until I left Los Angeles on kind of like a gut feeling, which now I would call a conviction, and moved to Nashville, Tennessee, that I had ever lived alone before in my life. And that's when I got away from my primary abuser. That was my mother. I have a restraining order against her now. But it wasn't until I got away from her that I was able to like even process what had happened to me, which is pretty common for most victims. Like, it's not until you leave that you're able to like actually deal with it. But I started having all these like feelings of PTSD in Nashville. I was just drinking my whole life away. My suicidal ideation was through the roof. One thing led to another, and I went out one night and just got as drunk as I think I had ever been in my whole life, and just got on the road and was just trying to get hit by a car and just wanted to die. I was just trying to kill myself, and nobody would hit me, which made me really angry. And then I got on a suicide hotline, and she called the cops on me. It was just a mess. I got 5150, they brought me to the hospital, I lied, they sent me out, I had to call a Lyft home. Like, it was just so awful. And that was my rock bottom moment. That was March, I guess, 26th or 27th. I don't remember what date I actually was like, I'm sober. But that was the last night I drank. And from that point forward, all I did, that's what started my recovery, and what really started my walk to Jesus was just accepting what had happened to me when I was a child, and accepting that these horrible things that I just so desperately wished weren't true were true, and that my family did do that to me. And I cut ties with everybody, and I got into AA within the first couple of days and fought my mom tooth and nail for my freedom. And it was Satan will come after you so hard when you try and get away from him, like more than ever before. It was, if you're someone, actually a homeless lady wrote this to me once, and she was a Starbucks regular. And she wrote me a note once, and it said, if you're not making the devil angry, he's not nervous enough. And that was exactly my life. Like, as soon as I cut ties with my family, they just came after me every single way. They tried to sue me, emergency conservatorship me. My mom called APS me, just calling the cops on me. Like, they were just trying to paint me out to be psychotic, because I think they just assumed that I was going to kill myself, because I had like all the knowledge of what they're doing and what they've been doing for so many years. I mean, my family is like very deep crime family in New Jersey. I know that sounds ridiculous, but like, my house got raided by the FBI when I was 13, and my dad got, yeah. So like, I have all this knowledge of everything that they're involved in, and they were just trying to take away my voice as much as they could, and it didn't work, because it'll never work when you're walking with Jesus. But Satan is the father of all lies, you know, and I had to unlearn a lot of lies and word curses that were spoken over me as a kid in order to have any type of like emotional freedom. I'm not gonna say that I got sober and didn't think about killing myself once or twice. Like, that definitely still comes up sometimes, not so much anymore, but it was really hard. If it wasn't for my dog, I'd probably be dead, you know. He's definitely was sent to me from heaven. I mean, he's been kind of my bodyguard and protector since I got him. But that night when I went out, that was the last night I drank, and I wound up going to a church service the next day, and through that service, I was able to accept that my mom had molested me growing up, and that's what started my like recovery journey. It started with that, and then it, you know, everything else that had also happened to me as a kid. It was like, trauma work is such an interesting thing, because it'll kind of come in waves sometimes, and I had about 6 months of just like heavy memories and trauma and processing and like denial, and then accepting and denial and accepting, and it's just such a mess. It's such a mess, and so many people live with like unprocessed memories and stuff, because we're just so unwilling to like accept that it actually happened. But that's the first thing that we need to do, and to speak it into existence, to make it real, and to understand that like so many people go through this, and it's okay. It's not gonna kill you, but if you don't talk about it, it might. And that's what was kind of happening with me. So that church service wasn't my come to Jesus. My come to Jesus wasn't until last year. But I don't have a burning bush testimony. I have a very breadcrumbs testimony. I had a really perverted idea of Jesus growing up. My dad, one of the men that he trafficked me to was a Catholic priest, and it was through the Catholic Church. So that was my relationship to religion, Christianity, anything that had to do with Jesus, which is not the Lord, obviously. It's Satan, but needless to say, didn't really want to step foot in a church too much. And I thought being a Christian meant I had to be passive to all of that, and it doesn't, literally at all. It's just, unfortunately, a lot of people are like that, and that's not what Jesus will be doing. Like, Jesus was tough, you know, he would not subscribe to any of that, or be saying, hey, we don't talk about this, or, you know, oh, that doesn't happen, it's just a conspiracy. Like, that's not the Lord. Like, he's once I got to know Jesus, I realized that everything that I was taught about him was pretty much wrong. So yeah, one thing led to another. I'm like fighting for my life in Nashville, somehow moved to Albuquerque, New Mexico, ran out of money, I got robbed, I watched Yellowstone, and I was like, okay, let's go to Montana, this looks pretty nice. So drove up to Montana. There were some other factors in that, but it was really ripping Yellowstone that did it for me, and I was like, I'm gonna go find me a cowboy, because at that point I needed to be saved, but only by men, never by our Lord and Savior. Didn't work, by the way, never will work. No human man will ever save you from your past. But anyway, I moved up here. I had quit acting. I had just wiped my whole life. I had no identity, and I was just a hot mess. But I started playing live music, fell in love with it. A really amazing thing happened a couple months after I moved up here was I got a restraining order for my mom. For the rest of her life, it's going to be in effect for 37 more years, so I think she'll be like 96 when it lifts or something. Very severe case of stalking and harassment, and she's just satanic. I mean, it's like escaping Satan, pretty much. And everybody always asks me, they're like, why is your family always at your throat? Like, why do they still comment on stuff when obviously, like, it's not doing anything? It's just demonic, you know? When Satan's got a hold of your soul, he wants it back. He's not just going to give up without a fight and be like, see ya. That's so not how that goes at all. And I didn't believe in any of that stuff, and until I gave my life to Jesus, that's when it all really started making sense, was, yeah, it's satanic. And once you call it what it is, it makes things a lot easier. But living in the denial that I had made my life a lot worse, because you gotta call it for what it is. But anyway, moved to Montana, got a restraining order against my mom, decided to ruin my life with a terrible relationship. That was awful. And I was really deep into like new age witchcraft, and I had witch bells on my door, and I did spells, and I bought spells off of Etsy from witches. I bought all kinds of stuff and had all my crystals, and I mean literally did witchcraft. I had an altar and all kinds of things, and it's so demonic because it really intrigues you at first, because they kind of sell you this package of, oh, do you love Mother Earth? Like, get a couple rocks, and then all of a sudden you're just in complete chaos and darkness, and that pipeline's just crazy. So anyway, I got out of this relationship in 2023, and at this point I had a good grip on my finances finally. I didn't see any of my acting money. My parents freaking robbed me of all that, so that was gone, and by the grace of God, I never went completely broke. Money was literally falling out of the sky. Like, I don't even know how I was able to survive for so long. But I started doing this Patsy Cline show that got me pretty financially healthy. And I had a lot of people speak Jesus over me at that show and stuff. And when I got out of that relationship, like, I just had nothing left. Like, it was like my second rock bottom, you know? The one thing that I thought was going to save me, which was a man, didn't. So that didn't work. And now what? So I kind of opened myself up to the idea of Christianity. Again, I liked the foundational principles of it, but I thought Christians were just whacked out. And to be honest, a lot of the Christians that I met were the ones that were like the religious teachers that Jesus rebuked, where it's whitewashed tombs, you know? So I try and confide, and they would just do this to me. And until I went to Church for the City's recovery group, I felt like that was the first time they didn't do this. Because everybody's a mess. Like, we all have so much baggage, and it's just the best, you know? It's just awesome. Like, that's what makes me feel comfortable. Where, like, you know, you just swap stories with people, and they make you feel like you're not insane. And even if you are crazy, like, that's sobriety. It's fine. Everybody has a crazy stage in sobriety. Some last longer than others, and that's okay. Like, we've all been there. But I just feel like I would meet Christians and I just felt judged. Like, you know? And if I asked questions, they just get like, you don't ask questions. Like, I still ask questions now. And that's fine. I don't know all the answers. It's okay. But anyway, I know my life with Jesus, and I know my life without Jesus. And without it sucked. So that's all the answers that I need right there. But yeah, I started going to this Church for the City recovery group and just opening my heart up to the Lord just a little bit. Made the decision to get baptized, even though I thought that I was fine because I had been in like a weird religious psychosis stage in Nashville for like a month. And I got baptized at a mega church there, and then like left in a big huff, and I have like a cross tattoo that's all covered up and stuff. I mean, I was crazy. That's sobriety. You will go a little nuts. But I wound up getting baptized through Church for the City. Bill baptized me. I still didn't really know what was going on, but I did it. And I was kind of like a little bit embarrassed by it, but I posted it on Instagram because I was like, I feel like I need to publicly just do this for some reason, so I just did it. And what really pushed me into my relationship with Jesus, instead of just like going to church and practicing that, was I was a part of a church in Billings, and again, left in a big huff. I do that a lot. I'm trying to get better about that, but I do leave in a big huff a lot. They don't like me anymore. That's fine. Whatever. If the world hates you, it hates me first. It's okay. I didn't do anything not unbiblical. I just called out something that was really inappropriate and basically got excommunicated. So I left in a huff, as one does. I'm still Italian from New Jersey at my core. Yeah, I mean, I'm just not about that life. If it involves children, you're probably not going to get the best side of me ever. But I wound up leaving, and I was really involved, and it pushed me into the Word, you know. It made me read my Bible, and getting into the Gospels and Paul's letters. That's what really made me start forming a relationship with Jesus, because I thought everybody was nuts when they're like, a relationship? What do you mean a relationship? Like, I can't sit down and talk to him. Like, yes, you actually can. And some guy, there was an interview, it was such an awesome answer, and someone said, what would you do if you had 5 minutes with Jesus? And he was like, I do right now. It was just so cool, because it's so true, right? Like, what would you do if you could sit down and talk to him for 5 minutes? We literally can right now. So yeah, that pushed me into really getting to know the Lord and growing my faith, and I just devoured the Bible and devoured the Gospels especially, and all of a sudden all these things that I had kind of thought were in the Bible, and I'm like, wait, this is how I was feeling, and now it's being confirmed by the Word of God. Maybe there is some truth to this book, you know? So one thing led to another. I was kind of traveling this Patsy Cline show, and I just felt pretty convicted about using my voice for the Lord. He gave me the gift of music. That was the one thing of mine as a kid that was never exploited, and it was the one thing that I would only play music if no one was in the house. Like, I never wanted my mom to hear it. And it's truly because I feel like the Spirit was there, and it was just like a protection that I had around it. It was so personal to me, because I really do like sing from my whole soul when I sing, you know. I just lay it all out there. And yeah, I got really convicted about that. And one thing led to another. I was having a conversation with a friend, and she just said, instead of doing a night of Patsy Cline, like, why don't you do a night of gospel and testimony? Because at this point I was pretty full-time music, working like a dog, also as a barista. I was just working like a dog. The devil keeps you busy, right? Like, he just wants to keep you as busy as possible so you don't think. And I was like, sure, sounds good. So I did my first gospel and testimony show January 27th, and my life just exploded. God exploded it, and it's all I do. I literally just travel around. It's mostly held at churches, venues, anywhere that'll take me, and I just travel around and share my testimony in full. It's usually about a 90-minute, 2-hour thing, and sing. And that's my whole life. And I don't have a real job. I didn't feel like I should have a real job. I want to be able to just do whatever, the Lord wants me to do, and I didn't want to be locked down to any specific schedule. I also just honestly suck at working like jobs. I'm a bad employee. I don't have one good reference. I just quit and leave. So it's not really like I could even work a job at this point if I wanted to. Because I just get convicted and then I just quit. And, they probably don't really want an employee like that. But, yeah, so I started doing this show. I was supposed to move to Texas. I wound up not going because God really just called me to stay put. I don't know if it's forever. It's definitely for now. There's definitely a need for this out in this region. There's not a ton of musical ministry that's going around. They have more than enough of it in Texas. But out here in Montana, the Dakotas, Wyoming, all the neighboring states, there's just not a ton of it. And there's definitely a pretty massive spirit of oppression over this whole area. The suicide rate is out of control. There's so many youth taking their own lives. And if I can just be a small light in that battle, it would just be a blessing. And I feel like that's what God is really calling me to do. So I don't know how I got here. I really don't. By the grace of God. If it was up to me, I'd be dead when I was 11 years old. So he just kept me. And I wanted to die, hardcore. Wanted to die. I wanted to die my whole life. That was all I would think about. It was just suicidal ideation. And man, it's just, if I could just go back in time and just give her a glimmer of what was to come, right? And all the things that I thought would heal me never did. The money, the fame, all that. I had it all. I was doing all that crazy stuff, and it's just so empty. The only thing that'll ever fill you and heal you is Jesus. And he's so awesome. He's so awesome. So, yeah, I don't know what I just said. I swear I just stand up here and black out. I don't even know. I hope something made sense. That was a good amount of trauma. I feel like it's not too much that I'm probably gonna have a nightmare tonight, but it's just enough that I might have to, pray a little bit on my drive home. Yeah, I have to sing a song for Bill, or else he's gonna chase me out into the parking lot and force me to sing it. And I love it. See, it really is, when you just let the Spirit lead you, it's the perfect time every time. It's 7:51. I think time for 2 more songs. He knows what he's doing, you guys. I always tell people that. I'm just let God lead you. And he just does it. He knows what he's doing. Way more than me. I have no idea what I'm doing. I've never claimed to know what I'm doing. So, yeah, I don't really write music at all anymore. I am going to be recording a little EP because I need to put out music. I literally need to put out music. It's so silly. I travel all over the place and everybody's like, where can I listen to you? I'm like, nowhere, I have nothing. So I need to put out music. I'm going to record this song, I think I'll Fly Away, Goodness of God, and In the Garden. Those are kind of my favorite hymns, and Goodness of God, obviously. But this song is, I'm not plugged in. This song is an original that I wrote. This has such a cool story behind it because I wrote it actually before I got sober, so over 5 years ago. And I came back a couple months after I got sober and rewrote it, only a couple months, and completely trashed it. I was like, I hate my music, I hate my life, I'm never gonna play any of this garbage ever again. I just hated everything. But I started doing this Patsy Cline show, and I would play this song. I honestly don't even know why I started doing it. I think because a couple people told me they liked it, and that was good enough for me. So I was like, well, I might as well just throw it in there. And it's so amazing because I didn't write it as a Christian song. It's called I Found My Jesus in a 6-string guitar. But I wrote it with the intention of Jesus being the muse, he was a muse for, I found my God in music. which is also kind of funny because that is how God spoke to me before I gave my life to him. So again, he knows what he's doing. Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, plans to not harm you, prosper you, whatever it is. That's not how it is word for word, but you know what I mean. Close enough. Close enough. But yeah, so I just think it's awesome because I didn't write this as a Christian song. And I remember the first time I sang this at my actual ministry show, it was like it finally became what it was always meant to be. It was the coolest thing ever. And then I sang it about a week later at Cornerstone Church in Cody, Wyoming. And I was just like, I almost started crying halfway through because it's just, I mean, man, when he really dragged you out like the pits of hell, it really is just so amazing to think that I wrote this before I tried to kill myself again. Came back, rewrote it a couple months later, and then 5 years later, here I am, like, in ministry. It's just so cool. So, this is Bill's favorite song. This is I Found My Jesus in a 6-string guitar. I run to hope of something whole. For what am I with all these broken parts? I thank my demons and let them go. that I wasn't even Christian. And now I am. It's almost like he knew all along what was gonna happen. Man, it's so funny to me because like I just had such a spirit of pride with